Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today. And can we just say, yesterday was an awesome day for entertainment in general. We got the new Kenobi trailer. I thought the state of play was pretty solid. And if you're an AEW fan out there, we know Jeff Hardy's back in the building. It was just such a great day. So we're going to be talking about specifically some of the announcements at the state of play, but also a lot of Xbox news that's happened, such as a brand new showcase that got announced for next week on Wednesday. And on top of that, because Xbox should be owning Activision by 2023, we got to talk about Overwatch 2 and some progression on that front as the release window for that game has changed. And it's a quite interesting situation to monitor. So if you're new here, you're looking for more Xbox news and information, you are in the right place. Consider subscribing. And with that, let's dive straight into it, starting off with the brand new showcase. So Xbox just announced, after being relatively silent since the announcement of acquiring Activision, that they're going to show off some indies at a brand new ID at Xbox event. So it starts off by saying, here we are almost 1 year since our very first ID at Xbox and Twitch Gaming showcase. We've had the pleasure of working with Twitch Gaming and putting together some incredible showcases since then. And guess what? We're nowhere near done. Fuck. This is, I almost feel like they're trolling here because the games that ID at Xbox has been promoting, getting in the ecosystem, getting day one on Game Pass have been stellar. I don't remember the last miss they've had. The ID at Xbox crew is killing it. Combining it with the Twitch showcase, for those who don't remember, because many of you have sat down with me, and we'll be doing it again next Wednesday, fret not. We'll talk about the details in a second. But for those who don't remember, these are the showcases where they show off a trailer, then they cut to a 20-minute interview, then they show another trailer, and this showcase that should really be 30 minutes to an hour of games ends up being this 3-hour marathon of just long-winded interviews with no details and a lot of Twitch personalities just kind of faking it up on camera. I just think it's a horrible way to present these games. And overall, the reason I'm so passionate about it, to not be disrespectful here, is because these showcase formats hurt the video games they're trying to promote. People want to see the games. If they change it this time around and make it where the games are front-loaded and the interviews are afterwards, bravo. But it doesn't look like that'll be the case. Let's keep reading as they say ID at Xbox and Twitch Gaming will be coming together once again to showcase updates and new announcements of amazing games coming to Xbox from independent developers. Catch the show on Wednesday, March 16th at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be featuring updates, new trailers, and gameplay from Finji and Whitethorn, as well as the first game from IM8-Bit's brand new publishing label. In addition to all of this, fans will also get a chance to see the latest and hear from teams working on Shredders, Roblox, and some new games that you need to tune in for to see. This, to me, can be pretty decent depending on the games that they show off because, again, Xbox has some good indies in the pipeline. One just released called RPG Time, The Legend of Wright, which I don't think is getting nearly enough discussion because from the outside looking in, it seems super unique. And Tunic is going to be coming out next week. So they really need to put these indies on a proper platform. And I'm again, crossing my fingers that they have the showcase up front, presenting the games, and then put the interviews in the back. If we do that, that will be a great situation for Xbox. But again, with Twitch Gaming being involved, I'm not feeling super confident about that. But anyway, this is a brand new showcase. They're doing their first of the year and a pretty good stopgap as we try to figure out what Xbox is up to, because we've talked about this in Defining Duke. I've talked about it on Twitter with many of you out there. I think Xbox needs to cut out the whole idea that the only part of the year that exists to them is the second half. Granted, they bought Activision Blizzard. That takes time to start rolling everything in, and that was enough to kind of mask what has been a very empty first half of the year for Xbox. And I'm not even saying that because PlayStation's popping off. If you watch Defining Duke, me and Cog, we warned everybody. We were like, yo, Sifu, GT7, Horizon, God of War. The list goes on. They're all outside. Prepare yourselves. PlayStation is coming. Xbox had a dominant 2021 because they, guess what, had everything throughout the calendar year. And especially in the second half, they really backloaded things. But this year especially is the same old for Xbox. The first half of the year is just non-existent. So seeing that they're putting together a showcase here should provide us some idea of what's going on in the ecosystem. But I know a lot of people are looking for the big AAA games. We can't rush that stuff, which is why I always point to Game Pass like, hey, let's see if we can work out a day one deal. I know it takes two to tango with that. But again, I just hope they do figure out something to address their first half of the year issues. Hopefully by 2023, that will not be a problem anymore, as many games in the pipeline from the 2018 acquisitions should be good to go. But we've also been saying for a while, Xbox is turning the corner soon, turning the corner soon, turning the corner soon. And it does well and truly look like in 2013 that will be the case. But that's a year from now, right? We're talking about here and now. So I don't want to complain too much because it looks like it may be remedied by next year. But those are just some thoughts on that. Now let's move into some brand new announcements. There was a state of play yesterday. A lot of people strongly hated it. I think it's because there were rumors floating around for a while that there was going to be a really big one in March that was going to knock people's socks off and was going to have a ton of updates on big Sony exclusives. Bloodborne 2 was a rumor, which I don't get with Elden Ring doing as well as it is doing. I'm sure even if they had Bloodborne of some kind of caliber in the can, they'd probably keep it in there until, Elden Ring had tapered off a bit. But there was a ton of rumors surrounding the state of play, and when PlayStation announced it, I think they were pretty straightforward. This is a 20-minute presentation showcasing content from our Japanese publishers, and that's exactly what it was. I had a buddy who was looking forward to seeing Hogwarts Legacy in here, and I'm like, dude, you set yourself up for disappointment. And I know a lot of people are looking for Hogwarts Legacy in here. I don't know why, because it said Japanese publishers. They did mention some other appearances, but more specifically from first party, which again, they did. So I thought this one was communicated to very clearly, and the games that were shown there were pretty awesome. So I wanted to highlight some of them. One of them was a complete troll job. That was absolutely Exoprimal. This comes from Capcom, who's been on an absolute roll lately, and this game looks awesome, right? Exoprimal looks like World War Z effectively, but with dinosaurs. I'm about that, right? It looks like a more polished up, less early access type of Second Extinction. So I'm game with a new dinosaur title. But a lot of people are wondering where Dino Crisis is with this new rise of survival horror, especially Capcom at the forefront with Resident Evil. People are looking for that dinosaur survival horror game known as Dino Crisis to return. And when people saw Capcom and then dinosaurs, they're like, yo, are they finally doing it? And indeed they are not. So a lot of people were upset with this announcement because it's not what they wanted, but as someone who has no ties to Dino Crisis, I've never played it before, I do want to. I saw this and was like, hey, this doesn't look too bad, but I understand why seeing Capcom and dinosaurs, this would bother people. Why didn't you make Dino Crisis? I 100% get that. So I can see why people are completely upset with this game even existing. Next was another announcement that caught my attention, the DioField Chronicle. These are games that are coming to Xbox, by the way. I'm making sure the games I'm talking about are indeed coming to Xbox. So DioField Chronicle, this was one that looked like Final Fantasy Tactics. It kind of reminded me of Valkyrie Chronicles. I thought this game looked really fun. Notice I didn't say good because, the art style for me, at least, wasn't doing much for me. It seemed very flat, very muted. Almost kind of like, again, Square Enix with, I think of Babylon's Fall, really tightening the budget on this one. But it was cool to see another tactical JRPG, and I love that Square Enix, for all they do wrong with their Western studios, with the likes of Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, they do a lot of right in the Japanese department. That seems to be their specialty. As someone who's playing Triangle Strategy right now, I put a review out over on Retro Rebound for those who haven't checked it out. They're killing it on the Japanese gaming front, and this just continues that role. Speaking of which, this one is PlayStation exclusive. There's a new Valkyrie profile game, Valkyrie Elysium, and this one is more action than RPG, which I think was kind of disappointing to see for a lot of people, because for those who haven't played it before, like Valkyrie Profile Lenneth is a top-notch PlayStation portable game, and I would love to see them just put that on other consoles. I know it's available on iOS now, but I don't play games on my phone. Come on now. But it was really cool to see Valkyrie come back. Again, this game definitely looked like on the lower budget side, so it looks like Square Enix is really trying to like invest low and gain high. So we'll see how all of that goes. But the best announcement of them all, the one that I wish I was on stream because I lost it here. I was by myself in the Retro Rebound room finishing up a recording. It was like 5:06. It's like, oh yeah, State of Play is on. Let me go ahead and turn that on as I move over to Defining Duke. And I'm watching it and it pops. And I popped afterwards. Cowabunga Collection. Y'all already know. Like, they're to my right. I'll show it in a separate shot. To my right are the sprites from TMNT Turtles in Time that I hang up on my wall. In the hallway, I've got the Turtles in Time arcade machine. I don't talk about it enough. I'm wearing my TMNT shirt today. I am obsessed with my Turtles, and they have been scorned in the gaming space for far too long. Thank you, Platinum Games, for putting the death blow on that one. Nickelodeon making them all kid-friendly. For those who don't read the comics and whatnot, I'm not trying to be that guy, but the Turtles were rough, tough, and gritty for so long. Read The Last Ronin, a recent comic, really good stuff there. And if you're looking for a deep Ninja Turtle story that's like very, very gut-wrenching, that's it. And to see that they're finally coming back in earnest, like Shredder's Revenge looks awesome. Now the Cowabunga Collection, 13 games in one collection. All of my Ninja Turtles are back, baby. They're bringing back TMNT for the arcade, Turtles in Time, TMNT for the NES, TMNT 2 for the NES, TMNT 3 Manhattan Project for the NES, Tournament Fighters. They're doing the Hyperstone Heist, so they're doing the Sega Genesis version, Fall of the Foot Clan, Radical Rescue on Game Boy, Back from the Sewers on Game Boy. This is all coming out in one collection. And yeah, part of me wishes, because Konami's publishing this, they figured out a way to bring back the 2003 era Ninja Turtle video games like Battle Nexus and Mutant Nightmare. Some of my favorite games growing up. I would have just like lost it more than I already did. But to know that this is coming out, I gotta say, this is one of my most anticipated games of the year. Like, I cannot wait for this shit because I am obsessed with the Ninja Turtles. And finally, they're getting their due. Now all they need is a nice AAA game, a 3D open world game set in the nighttime New York City. I could go on probably for a whole video. I'm sure at some point when this game comes out on Retro Rebound, I will go on for a whole video. But I'll stop it there because we do have more to get on with. Another game they showed off was Gigabash, which was pretty much the closest we'll get to a new Godzilla game or a War of the Monsters game. And I imagine a lot of people will be pleased with that one. The last game I wanted to talk about was Trek to Yomi. This game was shown off at State of Play, and all of a sudden I saw a lot of people stroking their chins going like, oh, what's that? What's that? Coming spring this year? What's that? It's day one on Game Pass. Don't forget it. I'm just putting it out there. A lot of people were like ready to hype up this PlayStation exclusive, which they did show off those types of PlayStation exclusives. And this is really interesting. This is a day one Game Pass release, but it was marketed on a State of Play. So, hey, shout out to the devs for just playing both sides of the fence and saying, we're getting our exposure right now. And it was a galaxy brain move because they know PlayStation's well known for Ghost of Tsushima, and they went, yo, let's show up with our samurai game, this 2D moody game, Kurosawa style. And let's put that out there on State of Play because that'll speak directly to PlayStation fans. And then we'll be over here day one on Game Pass collecting our bag. Brilliant marketing move. I have to really commend the team for that. But on a game front, this thing looks so good, so moody. Really looking forward to getting my hands on that one. So spring 22 is the release window for that. Those were the major games shown off at the showcase that I wanted to talk about. One of them being exclusive in Valkyrie Elysium, the rest non-exclusive. So you can look forward to all the other ones I talked about. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about, last but not least, Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 will release PvP and PvE modes separately. First PvP beta in April. This comes from IGN. Blizzard is changing up its release plans for Overwatch 2 in a major way. Rather than ship the PvP and PvE portions of the shooter together, Blizzard will decouple the package to get the Overwatch PvP to players sooner rather than later. In a new update, the first in a series of updates for the sake of more regular communication with fans, Blizzard announced that the Overwatch 2 PvP will be entering a closed alpha testing later today with a beta planned for late April. The closed alpha is only open to Blizzard employees, Overwatch League pros, and a few other select groups. The late April PvP beta, however, will be available for PC players in all regions. While it will be a closed beta, it's a chance for a larger group of testers to play the PvP mode and provide feedback to the developers. As part of the beta, several of the changes coming to Overwatch 2 will be available for testing. This includes the new hero Sojourn, the new game mode push, as well as 5v5 multiplayer and the new hero reworks plus 4 maps. Okay, so this is why they should have never called it Overwatch 2. I just got to call it as it is. I was obsessed with Overwatch, the first one, for a long time. I put an easy like 700 hours into it in the first year it came out. I was playing it every night with the boys. Some of the closest friends I've made, as well as some of the best multiplayer memories I have, were in Overwatch 1. So while Overwatch 2 is something I want to really get behind, when you spend this long working on it and you start to hear the reports of delays internally, and then they come out and they announce like, here is Overwatch 2's PvP, and it's 4 maps, a mode, a hero, reworks. For someone like me coming back after, I don't know, 4 years now, it will feel new, right? Because they're going to rework these heroes on top of a new one, on top of these new maps, a new mode. It will feel newer for someone like me. But the reality is, this isn't enough to call yourself Overwatch 2. And it's going to hurt the conversation behind this game, because then you have the PvE coming much later, and you're going to try to work on PvP at the same time. It really reminds me of the similar situation that Halo Infinite's kind of in, where they were splitting things up. Like, let's launch the multiplayer early and the campaign here, and then we'll do the roadmap here. And it's just very much a scatter shot because they need to hit a certain time frame. I do like the idea, at least on paper, that like, hey, let's get this out because this is ready, because it's mostly the same game. But I'm gonna keep an open mind, and I'm gonna try it out. You know, there was a time I was on an Overwatch craze, and I was really looking forward to that story mode. There's a window for certain things, and I'm not gonna, again, be close-minded. I'm totally cool with trying what this PvE thing is, this story campaign, whatever it may end up being for Overwatch. Hopefully it's bigger than we expected, but I do think that, like, that excitement for me personally has faded. Still, though, this is relevant for Xbox fans, because I'm curious if they're going to strike a deal. I know right now Activision's not owned. It's intent to acquire. But I wonder if they're going to, with the knowledge of, hey, we're going to be together one day, hopefully, that let's strike some type of deal. Let's get Game Pass users access to the beta, like PC Game Pass users access to the beta. That could be pretty cool. I'm interested to see how they handle any of that, if at all. Otherwise, we'll see how it goes, but definitely not enough content to call yourself Overwatch 2. This would have been much better received, I think, by a lot of people, despite there being clear excitement, if they decided to maybe call it like Overwatch something, not 2, not the sequel, because right now it doesn't look like there's enough content to justify calling it 2, but rather it's a name refresh to reinvigorate interest, which, hey, it worked. Here I am. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the Xbox news I got for you in today's video. Let me know what you're thinking about this in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.